Hey, Pioneers, and welcome to episode number 482. Today's episode is why I'm pressing pause and how you can shape what's coming next. So, if you've ever felt deep down in your soul, in your body, in your spirit, the urge to slow down, which honestly is why a lot of us turn to homesteading and to cooking from scratch and growing our own food and really getting back into the natural rhythms of seasons. And yet, oftentimes we get caught up in feeling like life is just pulling you forward and you are more surviving and kind of getting through things than you are actually truly slowing down and in the rhythms in the way that you want to. So, in this episode, I'm going to be sharing why the Pioneering Today podcast is kind of taking a break for the rest of 2025, but not in the way that you may think, and why that pause is actually an invitation for you to be more involved than ever. I'm going to share what to expect over the next coming months with the podcast, how timeless content is making a return, amen, and how you can help shape the future of this podcast. So, quite honestly, I have been on the brink of this for a while and have fully crashed into a season of more my body than my mind, but my mind as well, of really deep fatigue and actual physical burnout. So, many of you know I shared 2 years ago that I had a tumor that was non benign, so it was not cancerous, that was growing around the nerves that affected my left hand. And I had surgery to remove that, which was very successful. I have full use of my left hand. The tumor hasn't returned. The pain in that area all resolved, and that was fantastic. However, almost a year ago to the day of this recording, I started noticing some issues with my right hand. And full disclosure, I'm 44. So I expect some aches and pains to start cropping up. And oftentimes it's just like, oh, I decided to breathe. And my body was like, no, 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 not today. That's going to hurt. I know you know what I'm talking about. I feel like when I turned 40, like literally the day of my 40th birthday, I woke up and it was like, oh, you slept wrong. You're going to be in pain for a day. And I'm kind of half facetious, but also serious. So I noticed this last year, specifically when I would go out and get firewood. Now, for those of you who are watching this via YouTube, you're actually going to see my motions here on the video camera. For you, those of you who are my old school peeps, I traditionally listen to podcasts through my phone. I have to say, not on video mode most of the time. You can hop over to the YouTube channel or just use your imagination. So I would take my left arm and put it in a 90-degree angle, right? Kind of like if you were doing like a bicep curl. And then I would stack firewood with my right hand into my left hand, so that I could get like 4 pieces or so and hold it that way. Well, then I would, with my right hand, I would grab one extra piece of wood when I was carrying it into the house, obviously in the wintertime, and just pretend that this tumbler here that I'm holding, which we will be having for sale in our general store soon, I'm going to attempt to hold it. My right arm is still not. I'm just going to show you with my left hand. I still can't really hold any weight of anything, even an empty cup, with my right hand right now. But I would hold it like this is the piece of firewood that would be up and down vertical, and I would just hold it with the top with just my grip of my right hand, because I could set that down, open the door, let myself in, grab it, and come in, and it was an extra piece of wood. Well, I noticed about a year ago when I was doing that, not every day, but some of the days I would do that, and by the time I would get to the house to set it down, my arm and my grip would really be hurting to the point where I was like, I don't even know if I can continue to hold this. My grip is just going to let loose on its own because of the intensity of the pain. But it would kind of come and go. And so I'm like, okay, must just be a little bit of maybe like tennis elbow. Well, as time went on, then I would notice it when I would pick up the cast iron skillet with my right hand. Sometimes I would just go to pick it up and I would almost drop it just because the pain would be so intense. But then other times it was fine. And it was a very gradual period of this pain intensifying. And so I started, as one does, is looking online at symptoms and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that this is probably some type of tennis elbow tendonitis, that type of thing. So I started using my red light therapy. I started using a topical CBD with menthol and essential oils and herbs, um, cayenne infused herbs, like all the things that we would do for joints on the arm. And all of it helped a little bit, like it was micro levels of help. And then I got to where I actually had to use a brace. I tried several of them, and that would help some. And then I started using the tape. But honestly, it just kept getting worse and worse. And I was like, I don't have time to deal with this right now. That is what I told myself. And I believed it at the time is I don't have time for this. I'm tough. I can push through this. And that's what I did. It's not what I should have done, but it is what I did until a couple of weeks ago. And it was progressively getting worse and worse to where it was waking me up in the middle of the night hurting. And I would have to prop my arm on a pillow at night just so at a specific angle so it wouldn't hurt. All of these things, but they were gradual builds. It kind of felt like where you put a frog in a pot of water, that old story or saying, and then you slowly turn up the heat and it doesn't realize it's boiled alive until it actually is. It was kind of like that with my arm. So long story short, we held our chicken butchering workshop here at our homestead and had 3 lovely and amazing couples come and learn how to butcher chickens with us. And I could tell when I was carrying the chickens from the coop to the harvest station that that movement was really bothering my arm. And so I told my husband after I had done a few runs, I'm like, I'm going to swap out and I can do the scalding. I can go run through that part with just pretty much using my left hand only. So I swapped. I didn't actually even butcher any of the chickens. We were teaching it. My husband was walking through. All I did was show how to part out a chicken at the end and then how to package them, which I could do primarily with my left hand. However, I could tell that really irritated my arm that day. And then the next day it was sore, more sore than normal, but still within the realm of what it had been. And then that night at 2 a.m., I woke up in the middle of the night with my arm so swollen and inflamed that I thought I might have to cut the ring off my right hand. And I had no use of it. Like the pain level was so intense, breathing hurt, forget moving. And I obviously I went in. I called that morning and I'm like, we've got to figure out what's going on. My right hand, is pretty much returned to normal now, color wise, but there was so much swelling from the elbow down that it actually was turning purple from being so swollen in the circulation. So I went in and they immediately started me on oral steroids to help bring down the inflammation. And normally I am not a super big fan of pharmaceuticals, but I tell you what, I was grateful for them in that moment. I'm like, yes, I will do steroids for a short period of time. In fact, it was so swollen that they couldn't even do injections because there was too much inflammation to even know where to pinpoint to do an injection. So I just did the oral steroids and then went in for imaging or put in a referral for imaging because our lovely medical system always takes time for things. And so I still don't have all the answers there, though. I have 1 more week of the steroids and I have more range of motion back in my arm. And I could actually wash my hair with my right hand, not just my left today. So I am definitely making improvement, but just sharing with you. And the whole impetus of me sharing this with you, quite honestly, is I should have paid attention to the signs much earlier. But it's really given me this tool of evaluation to really start looking at all of the aspects of my life with both homestead, I mean, everything, right? All parts of it are the homestead, our businesses, the farm stay, all of those things, and really doing a deep dive evaluation. And I think that that's really important because obviously the homestead lifestyle is supposed to be built on seasons. And we are to have built into, not only do we have built into nature seasons, right? Seasons of rest, which is typically winter. Deep winter is supposed to be more of a season of rest. But we also should have those built into our week. And especially as a Christian, having a true day of rest. Like those things aren't put there just so that we are being obedient. They're there for our good. They're essential. And when we ignore those things, it does have consequences. And it's interesting because as we look at homesteading as a lifestyle, or as I look at homesteading as a lifestyle, a lot of the reasons that I'm drawn to it, and I'm going to guess that you're drawn to it, is because we are wanting to get back to simplicity. We're wanting to get back to things that really matter. We're wanting to get back to a place of feeling really true purpose, but also with peace, or at least those are my goals. And a lot of that is accomplished with homesteading. However, when we're homesteading in the modern times, it's really easier, it has been for me, to look at the what should be our off times. And instead, I'm leaning into a lot of the modern principles, probably subconsciously to a degree, but I'm not really allowing that time of rest and seasonality of rest. And that's dangerous. I want to be able to homestead for the rest of my life. And I have tomatoes sitting on the counter right now that thankfully my daughter still lives at home. And so she's going to help me turn into sauce. But I mean, I was at the point where last week I couldn't even button my own pants. I had to have, bless my daughter's heart, had to button my pants. And I'm like, if the lifestyle I'm living is taking me to this point, and of course there's lots of other factors into account as far as health, and because I wasn't able to use my left arm when I had the tumor on it a few years back, I relied, my right hand is my dominant hand anyways, I'm right-handed, but I relied on it a lot more. So there is circumstances, some of this that are directly tied, right, obviously to me, but I think it applies to all of us as well. And so making sure that we're taking time to really honor resting and realignment. So our traditional lifestyle, we teach that rest is vital, but I want you to get really honest with yourself. And you might be like, no, I am having periods of rest and I'm doing that really well. Continue to make sure that you do that. But for those of you who may be like myself, who aren't, we can't ignore our natural rhythms. And that's why we see even so many people who come into the lifestyle of homesteading and they do burn out after a few years. I mean, here I'm at year 26 with my husband and I homesteading together, not obviously from my childhood. And I'm burning out and breaking down physically in this period. And so it's more important than we think, and more important than I thought, though the good Lord knows I should have known from what I've went through with the tumor here and other health issues that I've had in the past. Apparently, I'm just stubborn and hard-headed, and bless his holy name for continuing to guide me. But I want to have a little bit of a reframe, because rest is not quitting, but it's leaning into the aspect of stewardship. And we have to steward our energy for that long-term sustainability. So with a bit of a warning story from myself on that, I want to share a little bit about what the Pioneering Today podcast for the rest of 2025, the rest of this year, what we're going to be doing. I have been doing this podcast for a very long time. It's one of the longest going homesteading podcasts that are out there. As you can tell, we're almost at 500 episodes. So we have went through all of the episodes that have been recorded, and we are going to be doing a throwback series, because honestly, homesteading information at its core does not change, right? There's nuances within the modern world, obviously, but the core message and those core fundamentals, they're the same. And so we've picked the very best for seasonality and timeless value, and we're going to be releasing these over the next few months throughout the rest of 2025. But I am going to be giving fresh introductions for context, updates and continuity. So you will still be getting a little bit of fresh or new, as I would say, I guess, new information from me with these episodes, but it's still going to be delivering really high value, relevant content. But that's going to allow me to take a step back from doing a full on brand new production. But this is where I would really adore your help. And one of the things that was really, I've known this, I've known it. It's one of the reasons that I started the Modern Homesteading Conference with my partner, Katie Milhorn, and we do the in-person workshops here at our farm, is there's something very, very special about community. And having community around you does help to ease that burden and helps to lighten our load, which we all need and desperately within the homesteading community. And even though my arm was really hurting during the chicken butchering workshop, it was such a blessing to have people there and for us to talk and commune and break bread together. And while I know we don't actually get to eat a meal while listening to the podcast, so maybe you're having lunch and so it feels like I am with you. I'm with you there. It's not quite the same thing, but I realized none of us can be a ship unto our own, right? And so I want to know what you guys want more of with this podcast. What do you need help with? Do you want more solo episodes? Do you prefer interviews? Or maybe it's a mixture of both. Or are you like, I would love it if you would like do some deep dives. Like, let's go heavy and do some deep dive series based on a specific topic. Or you're like, you know what, I just would really love if you could do some more. I would love more information on, XYZ. Whatever it is, this show truly is a community and your voice matters and it helps shape what it is that we do in a way that is helpful to you, but also helpful to more people. Because if it's something that you're interested in and you need help with, then there are many, many others that do as well. So I would love for you, if you are watching this on our YouTube channel, do know if you're watching this on the YouTube channel that the throwback episodes, because I don't have videos for all of them, they won't be being published on the YouTube channel. YouTube also gets grumpy if you just keep reposting the same thing. It's like duplicate content and they don't like that. So you'll want to either go to melissaknorris.com/podcast, and you can always listen to podcast episodes on my website or subscribe on your favorite podcast app. But please let me know in the comments if you're watching this on the YouTube video. If not, leave me a review, whatever app you're listening to this podcast on right now. Go into the review section and let me know. I would love it. And, give a review at the same time. But I really would like to know what it is that you need or what you enjoy the most of. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. So I want to leave you with really do a deep reflection on your own rhythms and see what is going on right now. Here's some of the tools that I'm using to do that is I am kind of looking at everything and what is it that I'm doing out of more a feeling of duty, or that because I've always done it, I need to keep doing it. And if that's how I'm feeling about something, is looking at it and then deciding, well, is there a way that I can bring joy back into this? What are the elements that this, instead of feeling like just something I'm trudging through because it's what I've always done or I've been doing for quite a while, or I feel like I'm supposed to, is there a way that I can make some changes to still do this thing, but in a way that brings joy and peace and lightens the load somewhat? And for some of those things, I am finding ways to do that. And for some of them, it's like, it's no, it's this needs to drop off, at least for this season. This isn't something that I'm supposed to be doing anymore. And just getting brutally honest with yourself, quite honestly, and with those who are in your life. So my husband and I are talking about things, my team as far as businesses go, and really talking and getting honest about. And you know what? It's been really wonderful too, because it allows the other people in your life, so the people I've been able to have these conversations with, for them to evaluate and be like, you know what, I'm really glad we're talking about this because this really isn't serving me anymore either. So I want you to honor the season of your own life, and also to think about, are you pushing through past the point of wisdom? And stop if you are. Sometimes we just need permission and inspiration to make changes. And so I hope by me sharing this with you that that might be just what you need to hear right now in order to do that yourself. So again, we are still going to have episodes. I'm still going to do intros so I get to chit chat with you about what's going on in real time. But I would love it if you could please, if this podcast has helped you at all or you've ever enjoyed it, if you would please do let me know in the comments or a review what you would like to see come to the podcast in season 2026. And we've got the best of our best coming to you still, and it's going to be really good. I'm actually really excited to bring some of these episodes back. So let's all rest well so that we can rise strong together. Thank you guys so much, and blessings in mason jars for now, my friends.